Aha, we're now live at last.
Excellent.
Finally.
Finally.
Right, hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jonathan and myself, and this is the Inside Out Effect podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Stephen Jakes, and it's been over a year since we've done a podcast, John. This is my good friend, Jonathan Shaw. So I think the last podcast we did was on May the 22nd. And so we decided last week or so that we'd do another podcast. And we're going to catch up on the year that we've had, the revelations that we've discovered while helping fixing people, and generally have a topic and a theme which has been quite prevalent in my environment, not for me personally, but in my environment, especially over the last 6 months or so. This is quite prevalent in the people that I go networking with, and also the people that come to see me. And it's what's stopping you. And I'm seeing so many people focusing on doing something rather than actually being able to deal with the thing that's stopping them from doing it. So this is procrastination, basically. In essence, what we're doing is we procrastinate. There'll be a list of things and reasons of things that we want to do, and we don't actually do them. And what we'll do is we'll always gravitate towards the practice or the activity that doesn't solve the problem. It will just use the energy that's being created by the conflict to then act and go and do something. And unfortunately, we have a lot of these coaches and spiritual people on YouTube and Instagrammers telling you to, go out and walk with nature and things will just, resolve itself on its own. And it doesn't actually work like that. But anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're actually going to discuss several different areas and several different themes in life. So you guys who are watching can relate to it. And at the end of the day, you might be able to then recognize if there is something that you're doing in your life that actually isn't working, or you can't do the thing that you want to do, or you just keep finding yourself avoiding doing something. And that could be in your business, that could be in your leaving a relationship, going into a relationship. It could be doing an activity within your work, or starting a new business, leaving a job, starting a job, giving up a habit, whatever it will be. There will be a reason why, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight, John. So that's really the thing about tonight. So let's bring in John. So how you been doing, mate? It's been a long, long time since we've done a podcast, and I don't see as much of you as I have done. Obviously, my life's changed massively a lot.
I was going to say, you've had a big improvement in your life.
My life,
As we cleared you out, you've had a massive shift.
Everything's changed.
Something that's happened, which you've been wanting for a long time.
And
you've even spoken about it on the channel. You've spoken about it a lot. There's one thing you wanted. And you finally got it after all the clearing and everything. You finally got this thing, and you're very happy. I'm very, very happy. And so I've been single pretty much for 7 years, and then there was a reason why. There was an ex that was still really messing me up in my head. Now, to them, they probably think, well, that's pathetic, but they don't realise that actually, when you have information stored in your system, that can really, really screw you up. And it did screw me up. And it wasn't until I actually had to do the work. And it took me a long time. But once I finally deleted all those last memories, literally within 2 weeks, someone just turned up into my life and said, I really like you. I want to be with you. And I was like, okay, let's go and start having some fun. And that was almost a year ago. So and we're great. Things are really, really good. On the back of that, my business has increased. Everything's just different for me now, and things have really changed lots. And I'm getting out and about and doing more things, going more places, more clients. Things have really changed for me in my work as well. So everything's been fantastic. Got to see quite a lot of the country. So all good, mate. Yeah, for me, it's all been good. Good.
So like I said, it's been about a year. So what's been going on with you?
With big changes for me too. I now identify as a woman.
You always were a woman.
So I was always a girl.
Just identified as
I was always a girl. I was always a big girl. No, I identify as a woman now. So I've changed my name to Janathine. And
the way you got your head tipped to one side, how coy.
Yeah, just being a little bit girly there.
Yeah, you are.
So there's been a lot of change. Not had the operation yet, but I'm hoping to. and my pronouns are fuck off. So no.
It has gone absolutely crazy, isn't it?
It's like mental. So yeah, that was better with me. Quite a few changes, different things.
Let's talk about these different things.
Well, different things have changed. I've moved. So that's one thing that's changed.
Yeah.
So that's nice. And been out doing a bit more things and going a few more places. And together we developed DTO a bit further, haven't we? We've pushed that a bit forwards.
Absolutely, it's been a game changer.
Actually. A couple of things that you came up with, and then something that I added to it, and then it where we get around someone's blocks, that really sped up quite a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it's just
so that's been really good.
Phenomenal, some of the results I've been getting with people.
Yeah. So that's been superb. What else? I can't really think. I've been working and changing, what I do and the way I work, and sort of doing more posts and social media, and because funnily enough, what we're talking about, I had a small sticking point to that. So we're going to talk about what's holding you back. And I had something holding me back on that. So I've now been consistent doing social media posts, different things like that. And I'm going to be putting out more videos and things, but I've just been consistent with my marketing and things like that, which I wasn't in the past, and different things like that. So I've been just doing that. And
I must admit, I was fortunate. I got a bit stuck because after I had found this revelation of what really clears things out really, really quickly, I was just really stuck, and I just couldn't seem to get any new clients. And anyway, obviously the girl that I'm seeing, she's phenomenal with social media, and she basically encouraged me to start doing reels, and I started doing them, and then instantly, and one of the guys, a business coach. So I've been working with a business coach as well, a guy called Gary. And so I worked with him, and he was telling me basically what to do. And things have massively increased for me. And I've also got a marketing company now based in Scotland who have been managing and marketing me across the country using Facebook as well with the stuff that I do. So all these different little things are bringing all these different clients in now, and as well, I had an amazing testimonial sent to me a couple of days ago by a girl called by Ellie, it's a hairdresser. So now I've been getting quite a few of those as well, which has been really good, and that just gives people encouragement that that whatever it is that's getting in the way, can be fixed. I mean, one of hers was her daughter, and we talked about fears and phobias in the past, and she had a fear of birds, and it didn't take me long. It took me about 45 minutes, and I cleared the whole thing out and completely gone in 45 minutes. And children are generally easier to work with because they've got less stuff there, but she was brilliant. She went straight to it, got rid of it. I'm doing quite a lot of fixing, healing a lot of children now between around the ages of 8 and 14 and 15. Parents are bringing their kids to me, and it's been amazing. And so and obviously with the new way that we do things, it just happens really, really quickly. So loads of that stuff for social media as me. So go on, but carry on. What was you saying?
I was going to say, to talk about kids, one of my clients spoke to me recently. I'm going to do a video with her on it because she was able to heal her baby's dairy allergy. She did it herself. So I helped her last year with her pain because she was told she needed you've not heard this. So this lady came to me last year. I don't think I mentioned it. And I think
you told me when we was going to the spa last
I think I did, yeah. So she had migraines. So she had stomach problems. She had back pain, multiple problems. And the hospital told her they wanted to operate on her skull because her cerebellum was too close to her spine. Now, the reason that was because her neck was forwards. So that's why the cerebellum was moving close to the spine, because her neck was forwards. But that's all that was. And they want to open up her skull. I mean, for the love of God, seriously, that is the most. They would have killed her. And so she got recommended to me, and she was skeptical. But we literally did 6 sessions and cleared it all out of her system because there was multiple things. We just switched off each thing one at a time. And so all the pain went, migraines went, stomach problems went, and she's absolutely fine. And then she took DTO on herself. And the year before, she'd had twin daughters, twin girls. And what happened was the first thing was that they weren't sleeping. So she had to sleep in the room with them. She wasn't getting any sleep, being woken up 3 or 4 times a night, absolutely exhausted the next day. She works, so she works for someone, has a job which has to do a lot of work. And she works from home, but still. and she was exhausted all the time. So I said to her, I said, well, what happened in hospital? I told her what the shock was. She knew what the shock was, and she used a very basic DTO process to heal that in herself and the babies. But then, unbeknownst to me, she took that same process and she started doing it on their allergy, because when they were born, they were crying, they were having problems, and she took them to hospital, and she got results back categorically stating they were allergic to dairy. When she changed their diet, they were better and fine. But I've never had the experience, maybe you have, but it's a nightmare to change the diet of a baby. It is for an adult, but for a baby, and she was going on holiday soon anyway to another country, and they don't have the same things in the other country. So it's not easy to navigate with babies' diet. It's hard for adults, although it's easy these days. But so she did this on her babies. I think she did about 3 months solid, although I haven't spoken to her in detail about it yet. And she then got them retested again in hospital. Hospital results came back, no allergy, and she's given them milk and she's given them chocolate, and they are absolutely fine, and they're both very healthy.
Yeah.
And all she did was basic DTO. She did nothing complicated. She did nothing, no searching or digging. You can't with kids, with babies. You can't communicate with them, so you can't do what we do. You can't find motions or contracts or triggers, whatever. So she just did basic DTO, and she was able to heal that, which was absolutely incredible. So that was really good. I love it when people heal themselves. I know percentage of people need me and Steve. I get that, but there's also a percentage of people, if they would just learn basics, they could do a lot with that.
Yeah, it's funny because the young lady, Milady, who I'm with, when she first came to me, she had fibroids and she had polycystic ovaries, a number of other things, and she also had a dairy intolerance as well. And I was able to switch off the event. So she recognized, see what it is that we store information and we associate events in our past to the thing, right? So what was happening is she was eating butter at the time that there was an event that happened, which was quite traumatic. And every time she has the butter, it triggers the trauma. And you think it's the butter, but it's not. It's the trigger of the trauma. Yeah. Once I got rid of that, literally, it took me about 10, not even her just recognizing that and just switching off one thing. She went, oh, straight away when I've been eating butter ever since, and cheese and everything, but no intolerance at all. So that was just a logical understanding. My brain went, oh, okay, well that means it's all right then. And then it was just that recognition of it. And then I've had other people who have had dairy intolerances, a couple of people over the last few months, and what they've actually done is that they only became actually dairy intolerant after they've been told by somebody in authority, i.e. the doctor or the specialist, that they have it. And as soon as they agree with that doctor that they've got it, now that kicks in. So what they've basically done is that they've unconsciously agreed that they've got it. So now every time they do it, their body goes, well, I'm not allowed to have that. And then so it's just like a contract that they've made to that information. And so therefore it now becomes part of their identity, and that's basically how it happens.
That's a problem with some diagnosis. You can go to a doctor with a problem, they can tell you something that is probably not necessarily true, and you believe it, and you make out that's what it is, and you believe, because a doctor is so well,
they're symptom driven, they're not cause driven.
But they're so looked up to because they're so revered, is the word I was looking
for. They're trained, aren't they?
They're trained. You believe them automatically, but that doesn't mean that's true. In fact, most of the things that my clients have been told by doctors is not true. So, I've treated thousands of people. Steve's treated a hell of a lot of people as well. And hardly any of the people we see, what they've been told is actually true. It just leaves either a belief or a contract or a trigger in them unconscious, and that just makes the problem worse or creates a problem that, as you said, doesn't exist.
It creates a problem that doesn't exist. And then what you've now done is you've agreed to a problem and created it for yourself without it being there. So what I was going to say is the problem that we've got now is that we've just pharmaceutical driven.
Totally.
That's everything. It. Everything now is pharmaceuticals, and I don't. For me, I don't get it. I get it. No, I get it, but I don't get the reliance of it and people not understanding actually understanding cause and effect. A symptom is an effect; it's not a cause. And I don't know whether that's a self-worth issue or whether it's a convenience issue or what it is, or the conditioning that we have. But the problem is with your doctor now is your doctor's, in essence, is ultimately
A drug pusher.
A drug pusher.
Yeah, they're
just basically
that's all they are. They're just drug pushers.
They're just drug pushers now. Yeah. But that's okay because they're
licensed.
No, because there's money involved.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
See, everything's about money. So we've got to realise is that actually ethically it's not okay, but when there's money involved, ethics go out the window. And I've experienced this quite a bit in my networking organisation as well. And so, because money's more important than people.
But the other thing is,
I think this seems to have been a thing that's happened very shortly over time now, where money actually supersedes people. Not in everybody's life, but now as a rule of thumb, money now supersedes people.
Well, governments do the whole time. I mean, they've been taking money from people for years for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, because and then the thing is, if your GP or doctor is just a drug pusher, it's not about the person; it's about the money that's generated by the pharmacy and by the pharmaceutical companies. Actually, all he's doing is tricking you into thinking that the problem's gone away by switching off the neuroreceptor in your brain to make you think that there is no pain or no sensation there, but it's actually still there. It's still going there. It's just been numbed out.
But the other problem is, I think people, like you said a minute ago, you said for some reason, I think people want it quick. They want this convenient thing because you see it on TV all the time. They just want something they can take and make it vanish, even though what they're taking isn't making it go away. Yeah, but they still keep doing this thing that's not doing what they want to do. You see on I saw this advert the other day on TV, and I can't remember what it was for, but it was for this instant relief with this pill that you could take for something that was ridiculous. It wasn't even an illness. It was something I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. And I'm like, that's the society you're in. The society you're in. If there's something wrong, we'll develop a pill for it. So you can buy that from us and take that, and we'll make you believe it's helping you. It's not really helping you, but you still keep doing it anyway. Yeah. I can't grasp. Yes. I can grasp the person wanting a result. I can grasp the person wanting to get better as fast as possible. But when you do the thing they tell you to do, but it doesn't get you better, why do you still keep doing it? That is like, that's the definition of insanity.
But you've got to understand, though, Jonathan, that over time, we've been conditioned to think that every problem is solved by putting something in your mouth.
Yes.
So, right? So in your exercising,
some bombs are going to be solved.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. That's quite good. But no,
that's got another pharmaceutical company.
But you've got to understand that if every time you do exercise now, you can't just go and exercise. You've got to put something in your mouth. You got to do vitamins and creatine and this bar and nutrient bar and protein. Right. Yeah. So you got to put something in your mouth, right? Yeah. Or if you're struggling with your mental health, apparently you need to eat healthy. Everything's about
what you
put in your mouth. You got to juice. You got to drink water. You got to take this pill. You got to do CBD oil. You've got to keep putting everything in your mouth because for some reason your problem doesn't go away unless you put something in your mouth and ingest it and swallow it. That's the answer to everything. And I tell this to all of my clients because they all come round and they will have to argue with me because obviously that's what they tell. Well, what about healthy food and sleep and all that? I'm like, well, was your problem caused? So remember, cause and effect. Was your problem caused by putting something in your mouth? No. What was the problem? And they just look at me and I go, okay, yeah, right, okay, I get it. Because what people don't realise is that who you are right now is the sum total of who you are right now to the time that you was born. So there's a timeline. There's a timeline from when you become aware as a child, or maybe before, I don't know the exact science, but from the time you become aware to the present day, your whole identity is consistent of all of your past. That's what makes you who you are. So now, if something's wrong in your body, or if there's something wrong in your mind, in your thoughts, in your feelings, or in your body, it's because something in the past is creating it in the now.
Yeah.
Really, really simple. Something there is making it happen now. So eating something, walking, going out for walks in nature, or expending the energy. So what we tend to do is think that taking action is having all this negative energy built up and then going to do something to release it. Well, that's okay. That's good. But the problem is that a negative energy is going to build up because the engine that's creating it in the past is still there.
Yeah.
So a really simple thing is that eating quinoa, rice, healthy diet, I'm not saying this about, but it ain't solving the problem.
No.
Because what you need to do is you need to go and find the event that was made or created in the past that you've got stuck in your mind, your belief or something you've agreed to, or a contract or a shock or an injustice or an alone response, or something you feel guilty about, or something that really hurt you or upset you that you stored in your system now is creating that energy within you that's making you feel the way you are now. So thinking about it logically, does going for a walk in nature actually fix the problem? No. Does it get rid of the energy? Yes. Well, it gets rid of the energy, right? We'll just expend it. No. Talking about it, it's the same sort of thing. We want to go and talk and try and understand it. Well, you're not understanding, you're just expending the energy. Exercising is about going to the gym and expending the energy, if this is what it's all about. So eating something or ingesting something or exercising seems to be the answer or the go-to for everybody. And what we do is we run around and round and round in circles because we become addicted to that, because the problem that we've got is from an event in the past or a situation in the past. And as soon as you go and get rid of that one thing, then all of a sudden the energy is no longer there, no longer being created, and you're no longer thinking that way, feeling that way, or behaving that way. And this goes back to what's stopping you. Now that thing that you're doing that's stopping you, that I can't do my social media because of this, that, now gets removed, and you can now take action. So it's always based on based on your past timeline. So think about your whole life from who you are to the past. Whatever's going on with you right now, whether you're drinking, doing drugs, you've got relationship problems, kind of relationship, you're angry, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. It's been created by an event or been created in the past. Really, really, that's it. But the problem that we've got right now is that we have all these people trying to sell you courses or trying to sell you something to put in your mouth as being the answer. Yes. And it isn't the answer.
Even the positive things like vitamins and things like that, I had a discussion with a client the other day. You're still trying to take something to correct something in the body. And as Steve says, you need to find out what's gone wrong in the body by going back to the past, not by putting something, even if you put something what is apparently healthy, that's still not right. If you're lacking in vitamin D, why are you lacking in vitamin D? What's the reason? It's no just point trying to put more vitamin D in your body. Find out why you're lacking it in the first place. Find out why you're lacking in vitamin C. Don't just keep popping vitamin C, because it's not really the answer, because you're just clogging up your liver, clogging up your digestive system with all these pills, which some are apparently good, some are apparently bad, but who really knows? So it's much better to find out what's actually going on rather than maintaining it with all this junk.
Yeah, but I've watched TV, John, and I learned everything about it from telly.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So everything you need to learn about the TV.
Yeah.
What you do is watch TV. You bypass the cognitive element of your brain and you unconsciously agree with stuff.
You know what I do?
And that's how you are programmed.
You know what I do soon? They'll create a pill for climate. We'll be able to
advertising,
marketing, change our
TV marketing, anything that you watch on your Instagram feeds. I tell you what, I got really angry this morning. I actually got really angry this morning because there's this guy, he's got quite a big following on Instagram, and he basically was telling, there was this 30-second clip that he did in this interview, telling people that he's an expert in depression, and one of the biggest causes of depression is, and you won't believe this is phenomenal, his explanation was being on your phone before you went to bed. One of the biggest causes of depression is people being on their phone just before they go to bed.
No, that's a distraction.
It's a distraction. So I was like, absolutely. So what we know to be true, because we fix depression in everybody that we meet, is it's a territory loss. It's a loss of territory, right? Simple as that. Whether it be materialistic, metaphysical, or social. It'd be one of those things. It's a loss of territory in that area. So I don't understand how being on your phone before you go to bed actually causes depression, because I want to know what the loss is. Loss of sleep? That's what it is. Loss of sleep. That's what it is. Getting a loss of sleep, that will cause depression. But it's incredible the stuff that people are coming out with now, which are telling you is the cause of depression.
The only time that could be a cause indirectly is if the person on the object, whatever it is, whatever medium they're on, Twitter, may feel they're losing out on what's going on. Then
what, FOMO?
Yeah. Then that could cause a problem.
Yes.
But actually being on the phone itself, looking to do things, that is insane by all, because and while that's just a distraction. You're just, when someone's doing that, if they're depressed, they're using it to distract themselves. Because when you're depressed, you go inside yourself. So someone's going inside themselves, they're going into the phone to escape how they feel.
Yes.
They're not depressed because of the phone. He's blaming something. He's blaming something external again.
Yeah.
And this is what we all do. We blame external things. For the love of God, stop it.
Yeah.
There are people out there who are on their phone and they don't get depressed. Yeah. So how's that work?
It was specifically before you went to bed.
Well, no, I got on my phone before I go to bed, but I don't get depressed.
What are you watching?
No. Well, I start myself up and then make love to my girlfriend. I mean, what's that about? So I mean, it's like, but no, it's I'm generally watching nonsense.
Have you burst that yet?
Hey,
have I burst the girlfriend?
No, she's still up.
She's still up.
Although the heat's about to burst, I've patched her up a couple of times. But never over her mouth. So anyway, I digress. But no, if there will be people out there who do go on their phone and they're not depressed, so that doesn't make sense.
Phone's just a huge addiction.
It's an addiction, yeah.
Distraction. It's addiction.
If you're playing games till late at night or you're scrolling things and you can't get off of it, then you're addicted to it and you're just using it as an escape to get away from something.
It's an escape and distraction.
Just like if you're, constantly, whatever you constantly do that you can't stop is normally an addiction or a distraction. So just think about that. Some people make that exercise.
And the reason why it is the distraction makes you feel good because you're no longer feeling the shitty feeling. The distraction makes you feel good. And your brain goes, I'm going to keep doing that because that makes it a nice feeling rather than the horrible one.
That's right.
Which is really funny because I had someone said, I watched a video the other day that said, someone said, you just need to do what makes you happy. Right?
Right.
And I'm like, so what you're basically admitting is you're not happy.
Yes.
By saying that, you are admitting you're not happy, so therefore you've got to do things that make you happy.
Right.
And I'm like, seriously, why do people, and these are people going out there and spouting telling people advice out there that this is what you need to do, when actually what you're doing is saying, no, what you need to do is be like me and stay unhappy.
Yeah.
But do loads of distractions to make you happy. It's like, well, why don't we go and fix? Why don't we just go and fix what's making you unhappy, and then you won't need to distract yourself to make yourself happy?
And the distraction is such a slow way of doing it because it just lasts so long. I was in a sauna and steam once, many years ago now. There's a guy in there who's just telling a story that his girlfriend ended it with him, and so in the middle of the night he was getting up and going to a 24-hour gym or doing exercise in his lounge because he couldn't sleep and he felt so low and just exercising. Now, don't get me wrong, he did it for so long he was actually fit and well built, but.
Well, it didn't change. And confidence got a benefit.
It didn't change how he felt about the ex.
No, it won't.
Gradually, over a period of time, he met somebody else, and that helps make him happier. But that trauma will still be lodged in his system, and he won't know it's lodged in his system, as we both say all the time. So he's still got that in his system, but over a period of time, it looks like it's dissipated because he's met someone else and time's gone on. But at some point, that will get triggered and manifest in his environment and cause a problem. But it was just a funny way to describe it. I was like, well, it's just, everyone does it all the time. We're all guilty of it. It's just not the fastest way of doing it. There's a quicker way of doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're sort of really is about, is what's stopping you. And, we talk about this, is in generally. So we're going to talk about this generally, really, because there's people that are going to be watching are going to have areas in their life that is stopping them from doing something. Like it might be leaving a job, starting a business. It might be recognizing that you're in a really toxic, crappy relationship and you need to get out. It might be actually really liking somebody, but not actually being able to go and tell that person you really like them, for example. It could be the fact that you started a business and you need help, but you won't get the help. Or you might know you've got anxiety, depression, PTSD. You know you've got anger problems. You're shouting at the car, you're shouting at the kids. You know that there's an issue, but what you'd rather do is keep the issue and rather than coming to see someone like me or John, for example, who can fix it. What's stopping you, right? So there's lots of different. You might want to be able to do more social media. You might have a great idea and might be able to want to talk about it or be able to sell what it is what you do on social media, but you stop yourself. So you might want to join a networking group, but you haven't got the confidence. So there's lots and lots of reasons and lots of things within this theme that will stop you. And we want to tell you, or we're going to cover the real simple reasons of what that is, because all of these things actually come down, doesn't matter what it is, they all come back to a number of basic things, real simple things that apply to all of them. So we'll talk about that and in a bit more detail, because once you've identified what that is, you now have the answer. And if you have the answer, that means that you now can take action. And if you don't take action, that now means that what you're actually doing is you're choosing now to suffer. You're actually choosing to suffer, or not acquiring the thing that you want, or not achieving the goals that you want, or not being the person that you want to be, because you're choosing it. Because what we're actually doing here is giving you the answer and the solution of what to do. How you do that is up to you. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to tell you what those causes are and where they can be, where they've been created.
So first thing to do is, before we go any further, think about an area of your life where you want to do something, or you're thinking about doing something, but you're not actually doing it,
or you can't do it,
or you think you can't do it. So you think you can't do it. So it might be pick one. I mean, the most common areas of life are even relationships, business, money, or even health, things like that. But it could be equally learning as well. I mean, I've got a client called me up the other day, and she wants to learn a new skill, and she's petrified, even though she's already doing it. She's got so many blocks in the way of doing it. So it could be something like that. Just think of an area of life that you want to change. Let's say relationships, and think of one specific thing. If you just pick a general thing like relationships, it's too much. Pick one element. So it might be with relationships, just going back dating again. Maybe you've come out of a long-term relationship and you're now want to go dating, but something is stopping you. Or maybe it's with business. Maybe you're in business, or maybe you're starting a new business like one of Steve's clients, or maybe you're in business and you want to reach a financial goal. So think of an area of life, and then think of a specific goal that you are wanting to achieve, but you're not doing it, or something feels like you're stuck and you can't do it.
Or you have a sense that you need to do it but won't do it. You just intuitively know. For example, you might be, I really know that I like that person, and I really do like him, and I can't tell him or her, or I really, really know that this relationship's damaging and I need to get out of it, but you won't. There's a reason why. What's stopping you? So just pick an area. Just pick any area in your life and think about it.
So do that now. We're going to give you 10 seconds. We're going to do the countdown clock. Boom. There we go.
We'll take a little bit longer, because what you want to do is think about the thing that you want. Shut your eyes and think about the thing that you want to do.
Not if you're driving.
Yeah, not if you're driving.
Or operating heavy machine.
Yeah, think about the thing that you want to do, and then you're going to come up now with 1 to 4 reasons why you're not going to do that. Okay? So think about why, and then you're going to go, well, because he might say this, or she might say that, or I might not be able to cope on my own, or everyone's going to laugh at me, or I haven't got the confidence, which is a big one. We haven't got the confidence.
Or if I do that, then this will happen.
Yeah. And what will everyone else think about me? So you might have an environmental issue about, well, I think it, because I know it's wrong or think it's wrong, everyone else think it's going to be wrong.
Or what if I get it wrong and fail?
Yeah.
Or what if I succeed and then people don't like me anymore?
Yeah. And what happens if I become really, really happy and I lose that happiness?
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting good, isn't it?
It's good. It's getting on.
I like
it's good, aren't we?
We are good at this. We are good at this.
Don't tell anyone, because they don't know. Leave them. So think about all those different scenarios, because loss is a big thing.
I haven't got the confidence.
Lack of confidence.
Because, well, in the past I did it and it turned out really bad. So it's better the devil you know and stay where I am.
Yeah, that's right. People like to stay in their comfort zone.
Don't take risks.
No.
Don't take any risks or gamble.
Don't fail at things.
Yeah. I'd rather stay unhappy and know it's not working for me than actually make the change.
Yes.
Because, it ain't that bad, really, when I think about it. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, everything's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. Oh, no, actually, my brother does that.
Have you worked on Coronation Street?
No, I work with clients that basically will come and go, and then go, and you go, well, think about it. I go, no, actually, do you know what? Ain't that bad. Ain't that bad. And I'll reframe it.
Yeah, they do that reframe.
Yeah.
People do reframe things a lot. They don't realise, even though it's amazing, you don't never study the NLP.
Actually, there's nothing wrong with me. My life is perfectly good. My relationship's great. I just wake up every day crying, and I don't have any money, and I'm not with the person I want to be with, and life is really crap. But actually, everything's all right. Honestly, nothing wrong with me.
Well, I think that's because people think that's normal.
Yeah.
People think that's actually normal to be like that. They think that is the norm. And unfortunately, it kind of is normal, as in it's the norm.
Yeah.
But it's not correct.
Well, everyone else does it, so if I don't do it,
exactly.
There it is.
One of my clients.
Just because everybody else does it or believes it doesn't mean it's true. That's what you've all agreed to.
One of my clients' blocks, and she actually let this stop her and she ran away. One of my clients' blocks was that if people around her weren't healthy, what right did she have to be healthy?
Yeah, guilt.
That was it. So she was just literally being ill because others were ill. I tried telling her that she had to go first, but she didn't kind of grasp that concept. But that is a thing. So if you have that similar thing running,
I'm not strong enough.
Other people around you to be healthy, you have to go first.
Yeah.
You have to show them how to be healthy. You have to be the leader in that. You cannot wait for them to be healthy first before you're healthy, because they'll never be healthy. Because they
always be the best version of yourself. So anyway, we've gone into one there. So you've had 10 seconds now.
Yes.
So you've obviously thought of something that you wanted to do, right? You've now listed 4 reasons for the things that it's stopping you, why you can't do them. Well, because of this, because that, because of this, because that. Okay. So for example, one of the things you're going to do, one of the key things here is what you're doing is you're making up stories or making up shit and believing the shit that you make up. Because actually, in essence, it's not actually really the reason why. That is a symptom of actually what's really causing that problem. And that will be a past memory, event, or an experience that you've had that's stopping you, okay? Which generally will be feelings of guilt, feelings of shame, feelings of feeling powerless, feelings of anxiety where you're attacking yourself. You're attacking yourself. Oh my God, if I do that, that's going to do. Oh my God, and you'll feel it, and you might feel it in your legs. You'll feel it in your stomach. You'll feel it in your chest. Might make your heart beat a little bit. And also there'll be self-worth issues of feeling worthless and that actually nothing good ever works out. And actually I'm not brave enough or I'm not strong enough, or all those things. But they all really basically come back to the key things of feeling guilt, feeling shame, feeling anxious, or feeling there's a feeling of loss, an attachment issue that you have, which will give you a feeling of loss if you leave. Do you want to answer it?
Yeah, I mean, there's you covered most of it, to be honest, but there's also fear of the future, different things like that.
Well, that will trigger an anxious response and a depression as well. Because
you
can have a fear of loss in the future.
You can go. That's right. You can have.
So
it's not always in the past. What I'm trying to say. Sometimes the event is in the future. You're worried about. You're not always reliving the past.
Yeah.
So if you're frightened of losing your friends, or you're frightened that your family won't like you, or you're frightened of making money but then losing it again. Yeah. So that's a very common belief why people don't have money, because they're frightened they'll lose it. Yeah. Or they're frightened of how they're going to cope with it.
Yeah, or frightened of making a decision and everybody not agreeing with them. So what they end up doing is people pleasing and sacrificing their happiness and their joy because they're too worried about the judgment of others. So they'd rather stay unhappy because they're more worried about what other people think.
Yes.
Because it really is a big thing for people that they're so concerned about what other people think. And I'm going to tell you now, they don't give two shits, in essence. They don't really, because they're too busy worried about their own life and their own head, doing exactly what you're doing right now. They're not really thinking about, oh my God, I can't believe so-and-so did this and did this and did this. Well, not really, not in the moment. And they're only concerned with their own individual happiness and not yours. So don't ever worry or concern yourself about what other people think. Because if they were your real true friend and they were on your side, they would recognize that you're unhappy and they'd want you to be happy. So therefore they want you to make the decision that you're going to make that's going to make you happy or get you out of misery.
You would think.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
You would think.
Yeah.
And if they're not, they're just running their own stuff, and that's nothing to do with you at all.
Keeping up appearances is bullshit.
That was a good TV show.
Oh, she was lovely.
Hyacinth Bouquet was great. It's
see so many people doing it.
Yeah, I know.
And then you've got the ego element that pops in as well. You can't be seen to have made a mistake. You can't be seen to have made a wrong choice.
Do you think that's ego? People keep telling me that. I'm like, is that something someone's made up to blame?
It's a projection.
I think that's someone blames.
No, what they're trying to do is go, and I have this in my networking group, is they're so not all of them. So some people are so concerned about being so correct and so I do everything right because I'm the perfect person, and it's all about trust me. And then on the other side, they're projecting trust because they don't trust themselves. And the reason they don't trust themselves is because they're actually projecting to be something that they're faultless and they haven't got any problems. So you can trust me because there's nothing wrong with me, but actually it's a false projection. If you're using energy to try and sell or project, then the opposite's always true. I say this is a pendulum. If you're using force, energy, effort, and willpower to convince somebody of something, the opposite is always true.
Yeah, that's why so many people have problems in sales. So this is an interesting question because I see this all the time. I see they try and sell themselves.
Try and help these people, but they don't want to listen.
No.
Because they're too stuck in that, I need to pretend to be really, yes, I'm confident. Yeah, I'm really good at my business. And, and it's all just fake.
But yeah, so if you're trying to sell something or sell yourself, if you are in a fight and flight energy, then you're not going to do it in a million years.
Yeah.
All you really do is just state what you do and how you do it, and that's enough. You don't need to sell it to people because actually nowadays that's gone by. People don't buy that anymore. They're too wise to it. But I've never tried to sell what I do. In fact, sometimes I openly convince people not to do what I do if they're not right. I had a lady like that the other day. She called me up and she's just not right for the program.
Yeah.
So the point is, if you're like Steve says, if you're whatever you're trying to do, if your energy is too intense when you're doing it, even if you're just talking about what you love doing, if you're very intense with it. I had that when I became a therapist. You did as well.
Yeah, I used to be.
Therapists do it all the time. When we first become therapists, we get very, very excited. We want to help everybody.
Especially when you know what we know and it actually works every single time without fail and fixes people. And you're not just going to sit there and waste money going over and over and over and over, going back to the same person each week and blurring your victim-y crap out and then coming back, which I did for a number of years because that's what I was told I needed to do by the authorities that are experts in it, blah blah blah.
And when you have something you love, you want to tell people, share it, but you're almost too excited. And there's nothing wrong with enthusiasm, but that's not what we're talking about. Enthusiasm is not the same as that really intense energy. You can be enthusiastic and passionate, but not have that intense energy behind it. If you have that, whatever you're trying to do, it will fade. It will create a negative, and the other person will just run away. A bit like a needy person in a relationship. If you've dated someone who's needy, the first thing you want to do is get away from them as fast as possible. It's the same thing whenever you're trying to convince someone of something, to explain something to somebody. It's the same thing. So your energy is very important.
The thing is what we need to recognize is cause and effect. Before you've even thought the thought that you're going to think, you're already in the energy, which means you're in the effect. So before you've even thought the context of a thought or felt a feeling. So before you've even thought, before you've even felt, the journey's even started, before you've actually experienced that, you're already in the symptom. You're already in the effect. So whatever you do, whatever behavior or whatever decision you make from that is in the symptom. And if you're in the symptom, it's never going to solve it because there's a reason why you're thinking, feeling, behaving, doing what it is. The energy's already been created and you're acting from that. And the cause of that will be what we mentioned earlier. There'll be contracts, things you've agreed in past memories that stop you doing the thing now. So what's stopping you now will be based on what happened yesterday, last week, last month, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago. And I know that categorically because once I cleared all of the crap of my ex, the feelings I had for an ex many, many years ago, as soon as I got rid of that, instantly our relationship appeared. Right? So that's how it works. Right? Yeah. So but what I had to do is I had the cause of my problem in relationships wasn't because of how I looked or anything. It was, for me, it was because I had never ever really made peace with the breakup that I had all those years ago. And as soon as I'd done that and deleted all of the memories and all of the stuff and got rid of all of that, instantly it happened. And now it's like that whole relationship it just didn't happen. I don't know, it's mostly, just gone. I don't even, most of the memories and it's sad that I had to do that, but that's what needed to be done. And I'm a lot better person for it. But so the point I'm making in this is actually what's stopping you now isn't because your diet, you're not exercising, haven't got enough information, you haven't read enough books. The reason what's stopping you now is because of beliefs, contracts and agreements and emotional energy that you've stored or saved in a past event. And as soon as you go, and there might be multiple events, because once we've created it in the past, we recreate it over and over again. We like daisy chain. So something that you happened to you when you were 7 can be repeated when you were 14, which can be repeated when you were 23, which then can be repeated at 38, which is what happened to me over and over and over and over and over again. And that's because I had agreed in a really heartbreaking breakup in my early 20s that's how life was going to be, and that's how relationship. And that's what I kept recreating over and over and over again. Yeah. Now I had to go back to that and fix that. So, so what's stopping you is basically things that have happened to you in your past, and that could be the loss of somebody as well. It could be the fact that you lost someone, could be a loss of partner, loss of relationship, loss of parent, loss of sibling, right?
And also, it doesn't have to be a trauma. So in a lot of cases, although, you know, Steve's case, there were some trauma, but in some of Steve's events and in some of my events recently I've come across, they weren't traumatic. One of my events was when I was doing cooking class at school, and they wouldn't let me do the washing up, the drying up. That was it. One of Steve's events was just looking out the window at a playground.
Yeah,
that was it.
When I was looking at the playground.
But they were not traumatic. I mean, Steve's had trauma, but that was not a traumatic memory. But there's been a lot of beliefs, contracts, images, sounds, sensations. All that energy was stored from very simple memories that were not traumatic. And for most people, they're not traumatic. The percentage of people that have a lot of trauma running is much smaller than the people who just have normal lives.
Yeah, let's go. Just what I need people to recognise is, like, let's go back to, there's a massive thing that was causing me a problem. I mean, when we got into the energy, it took me back to a memory. I had an image of me sitting in my infant school classroom, looking out across the playground, and I wasn't allowed out. I wasn't allowed out there. So, in essence, what had happened is, as a 5-year-old, because my logical brain, the thinking brain, hadn't been happened, the chances are is that I probably was looking forward to going out in there to play kiss chase or whatever, and the chances were that we weren't allowed out. Maybe it rained, so our break or our lunchtime weren't allowed, and I had to stay in against my wishes. And so that was an event for me that was really big, but in the scheme of things, it isn't big. But from a 4 or 5-year-old child, it can be really huge. Yeah. And that shock, that energy that we store in that memory, can actually be what we agree to and conditions us for the rest of our life. This is why it's so important. When you watch my video about what happens in the first 7 years, is generally what happens in the rest of your life. Generally, as a rule, you're still going to have other things that come in and change things, but generally. So, yeah, so like John said, sometimes they're just, you know, when somebody makes you jump and goes boo and you just choke like that, you can have that in everyday life, but you don't actually realize that something like that can actually have a major impact in how you think, act and feel without you even realizing, because what you are generally is a biological computer that runs on biological files. You've got all these files and folders within you that store information, which creates your identity. And that's how you are. Your computer runs those files. So when you see somebody that, for example, if you've had a breakup with someone, right, and they leave you, and you feel attacked and powerless in that moment because you didn't want to split up with that person, then you see that person in the supermarket, that triggers that file and fold, and then you experience all those thoughts and feelings. All those thoughts and feelings come up right now, and you go, oh, there's that person. You go, what? And you have that feeling inside. That's because your brain, your computer, has just gone, there's that folder, run all of these feelings, all of these thoughts and feelings, and experience them now. And then you're experiencing them now. If this, then that. We are biological computers. In essence, that's what we are.
And oftentimes what triggers you is very, very small. Most triggers that trigger the past are not big things. They are very subtle things. Yeah. And they're things that don't always make sense. So they're not always connected to the original memory. They often are, but sometimes you just anchored them to the original memory. I've had clients that have had triggers that really we couldn't see how they had anything to do with what happened to them, but they'd anchored it somehow, you know, like hearing a car door click shut or the bolt being slid across their gate. I had a trigger the other day of something from happening last year, and it just triggered me in a minor way. As I left where I was, I felt something, and I'm like, I got in the car and went, what was that? And I went, oh shit. And I realized what it was. It was only a small thing, but I realized that leaving that person triggered me. So I was like, So that was obviously something still slightly running in that, even though I switched a lot of that off. So there was that trigger was still left. But then there might be another memory going from the past where I was left. So triggers are often very subtle, and once they trigger the past, then as Steve said, it's in your system.
It will just run
and
all
it's
of those.
like you're reliving it again, depending on the intensity left in your system, depending on how many times it's happened in your system. If it's happened, as in Steve's case, multiple times, then when it gets re-triggered, the intensity of that's going to be very, very high. If it's only happened once, the intensity is going to be quite low.
Which will probably explain why I was so intense.
That would explain why it's so intense.
Because it just adds and builds on each other. Adds and builds.
If you're having very intense responses, then there's going to be a lot of memories that are being triggered at once in your system.
Yeah.
I'm
going to talk about triggers. So one of the things that I was struggling with, and I couldn't work it out, and I thought it was just because people were leaving me alone, right? But actually what I worked out is that when people left, or the last client left, or when people left and I shut the door and I heard the door, because as I shut the door, I lift it up and it clicks the bolt in.
Yeah.
So it goes, you shut the door and it goes click like that, right? And as soon as I'd done that, I'd get really down and I'd be like, oh, well, that's it then, isn't it, really? And I couldn't work out what that was. I thought it was just because, I'm on my own in the house, I don't like being on my own, blah, blah. So I don't like being on my own. And so I'm going to have to eat on my own. And I thought it was that.
Yeah.
But actually what it was the final moment when Laura left with Ruben and I knew that she was going to Ireland and taking him and I weren't going to see them anymore. And I shut the door and I clunked that up. That then cemented that feeling of, well, that's it. I've lost them now. I've lost them forever. And I remember going straight up and getting into bed. And that's when I had that massive crash for 2 months. But it was the hearing of the bolt and the clunk that triggered one of the most...
That's depression.
Awful. It was an awful experience.
Auditory sounds are depression.
Yeah.
Auditory sounds connected to a lot, not being on your phone. Auditory sounds connected to a loss. There's a few other conflicts, but it's usually a loss.
Yeah.
So auditory sounds connected to a loss trigger depression.
Yes.
They cause depression. If you just find often the auditory sound, because like you said, it wasn't actually the memory. The auditory sound triggered the memory. Yes. It was not what happened. It was the auditory sound of the lock going.
Yeah.
I had that with a guy who would come home at night. He separated from his wife, and as soon as he slid the bolt across his gate, it triggered him.
Yeah.
Back into depression again.
Photographs.
Yeah.
So if you've lost somebody, somebody that you're dear to. So when my daughter died, I had a photo of her on my mantelpiece. And it wasn't until I was just always just in my house feeling, it wasn't until I moved her off of the mantelpiece out of the view and put her in the cabinet, all of a sudden I wasn't feeling those same things because it was a trigger. So all these things that we have up on our wall of people, photographs, memories are all triggers.
One of the things I have to do sometimes with people, I had a lady a couple of years ago now.
Seeing people.
She was grieving and I had to go around her home and temporarily remove all of the triggers from each room. She had to do it one at a time because she had 4 griefs running at once, and I couldn't switch them off all at once. There was too much energy there, and she kept getting triggered. We'd switch it off, and she'd trigger. And one of the triggers, which we had to switch off first, was literally the 4 walls in the room.
Yeah.
So she had trinkets on her office desk.
Yeah.
She had photos up. She had something in the garden. And so she could put all those in a box, which we did initially to calm it down. That calmed her until we could switch it off. But one thing I did have to switch off was the 4 walls in the room, because obviously I couldn't get to remove the 4 walls. But that's why we always say, or I've always said to people, triggers are a massive thing.
Yeah.
And
the thing is don't matter how much juice you're going to eat, how much quinoa, rice, chicken, how much exercise or swimming you're going to do, how much weight you're going to lift, it's not your hormones. What you've got to realise is...
I've had a lot of that lately. People saying hormones.
Oh, I know. Because they don't know, because they get told it and they go, well, that's it then. That's what it is. No, it's not.
No.
You can't tell these people that because they've read a book by somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about and they've agreed to it. But anyway, or they've listened to a YouTube video.
We'll get in trouble for that.
Yeah, we'll get in trouble. But anyway, but I've had the same with... Anyway. I know it because I've helped people, and all of a sudden,
I've helped people with it,
and then all of a sudden, it's not a hormone problem anymore. It's gone away, and it's like, oh well, that's all gone.
I know.
Right? It's not hormones, but it's not. I've lost my train of thought now.
Sorry.
No. So it's none of those things. So it doesn't matter what you're going to do, going for flipping, 2-mile jogs or whatever. You might walk straight back at your house like me, do all of that. put your door handle up, herald an auditory sound, and it will trigger all of those things, and you're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. So it could be your environment that's actually the problem.
And here's what's really ironic.
The person you're sitting next to.
It could
opposite.
be. But here's
the kids. It could be anything. They're the triggers.
Here's what's really ironic. That positive thing you think you're doing can also be a trigger. So that juicing you're doing can trigger you to have a negative response, because anything can be a trigger.
Yeah.
Anything. You can anchor anything. It doesn't actually have to be part of the trauma. You can anchor anything to any response, and that will now fire it off, even if technically it's quote unquote a good thing. And I've had people do that loads. Yeah. And they think they're doing the same thing over again. They think it's good, but it's actually triggering the conflict off in their brain.
Yeah, but also you can have, for example, like for me, like I had this massive problem of loss of time, because obviously having lost so much in my life repetitively, and now at an age where I'm thinking, well, it's too late now. I'm 52 now. How am I going to get back what I busted my balls off and built in the past? I've lost time. So time can also be trigger, and the loss of time can be a trigger, but that loss of time could also make me do something positive, but that positive thing that I'm doing is based on a negative trigger.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it starts getting it. You've got to be really careful about
triggers. Are very complex.
Yeah.
Or can be.
Yeah.
But if you know how to find them and then change them, you can change them yourself using the right technique, or me and Steve can change them. Once you change the triggers, you get massive results really quickly, because half of the problem are triggers.
Yeah.
Not always.
And then you've also got the law of attraction element, because as soon as you clear something energetically,
it just happens.
It just happens. Yeah. So I know that one of the girls that I've been working with at my networking group, over a period of time, as I've cleared stuff up, she's becoming more confident. She's getting more orders, all of these things. Her social media, so she started doing her social media. She started getting more orders. All these little things now, they're all starting to come in where they weren't before.
Yeah.
She was struggling, so and then as soon as what's this, and I try and tell the people that get rid of it, and then it will start happening. Now it's done it for a couple of them. Few of them I'm not allowed to mention their names, but I don't want to be known that they've come and seen me. But as soon as I've removed the thing that they were worrying about has stopped, and now they're getting so much work. There's an abundance of it. But you do have the law of attraction element as well, is that as soon as you get rid of the thing in the past, the thing that you want happens, or you can take action towards it, and it meets up.
And you take the right action towards it as well. Once you clear the problem, you then, rather than the procrastination that Steve mentioned earlier on and doing the wrong thing, you actually do the right thing that moves you closer to the needle to get you to where you want to go.
Absolutely.
And that is the beauty of clearing something, because you automatically take the right action. You don't need to ask an expert, or if you do, you seek out the right expert. So, in Steve's case, when he's cleared things, he's now manifested or drawn to him the right people to help. Yeah. But before he wasn't, because he was running the wrong energy. So the wrong energy will draw people who can't help you, who won't help you, or who tell you the wrong information. That's the way it works. So if you do need information, once you clear the energy around that, the right person will come into your life, or you may not need it. You just need it cleared, and then the answer will pop in your head, and you'll just do that. And once you do that, you'll move closer, and your goal will come quicker to you than you could possibly imagine. It's just clearing energy out. But like you say, often with things that we want, there's a hell of a lot of sabatage running. Hell of a lot of sabotage.
Yeah, and the thing as well, that's why we want it so much, because the energy's there. But one of the things as well is that what I want, if anybody's that's watching this right now, the reason why you're still stuck with your problem is because actually deep down you don't want to get rid of it. And the reason why you don't want to get rid of it is because you're doing all of the things that you shouldn't do because of it. Does that make sense? So if you really wanted to get rid of your anxiety or your depression or your behavior or your addiction, you won't be going to the gym, and you won't be going for walks in nature, and you won't be doing diet. You'll actually to be doing the thing that fixes the problem. So, and actually fixing it. So if you are stuck with it, either you want to keep it because you get a benefit from it somehow, even though you won't admit it to yourself, but you do, or actually deep down, you don't really want to get rid of it. because of a self-worth problem, and you'll just keep doing everything except the thing that you need to do. Every time.
Yeah.
I see it all the time.
There is an old saying that says everyone is where they want to be.
Yeah.
So if you are trying to achieve something different, but you're still stuck where you don't want to be, it's, as Steve said, it is because you actually unconsciously want to be there.
Yeah.
Not consciously. You're not consciously doing it because there's a conscious part of you that wants to improve and get better.
I want that. But when it comes to it, I go, do you know what? I need to go and walk in nature for 2 hours. I need to go and do some crystals.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I found a load
and
of
this is the what's stopping you. This is the procrastination. This is the distraction.
Yeah.
So you really need to recognize that the reason why you're stuck with what it is, because actually really deep down, that's where you want to be, and you don't really want to get rid of it. No. And in doing that, you'll always do the wrong thing.
Now, quick tip: if you do want to get past your sabotage, logically, as in you want a way to try and, because at the moment, if you are sabotaging yourself, you're going to keep sabotaging yourself. Just me and Steve telling you what's wrong is not going to motivate you to change.
It's intellectual, but not actually behavioural.
No. So what you need something that drives you to want to change. You need a reason, and it needs to be stronger than the reason that's keeping you stuck.
Yeah.
So if the reason that's keeping you stuck is you want attention, then the reason to get better has to be way stronger than that. So the thing that actually, now usually, I'll put a caveat on this, usually it has to be for yourself. But the thing that got me better when I was in, I've told this story before, I was in my lounge, I was crying my eyes out, my life wasn't working back in 2013. The thing that got me better was two things. One, I couldn't help other people in that state.
Yep.
And two, which was about me.
You selfish git.
I know. Two, I couldn't have the relationship I wanted in that state. So there was two reasons that drove me forwards. But initially, it was that I can't help people like this that drove me forwards first. That realization made me go, I've got to change to be able to help other people, because that's why I'm here, to help other people. Because that I believe that's why I'm here, to help other people. I believe that's why Steve's here, to help other people.
That's all I do these days.
That's all you do. Well, that's right. But when he asked me if I would teach him this, I believed he could do it. And I realized that maybe he's here to help people as well. And he helps a lot of people. And we're both here to help people. So,
well, and together we've improved this thing exponentially.
Yeah, no. I mean, Steve's added quite some ideas to it that have really sped it all up. And that itself is incredible, because it's now 10 times faster.
Yes.
So, which is great. So,
not financially, I ain't.
You speak for yourself.
I know, yeah.
So you might have a blog about that. But the point is that you need a reason stronger than what's holding you back. And mine was initially because I need to be able to help other people, and then second, it was so I can have a healthy relationship, because the reason I wasn't having healthy relationships was because I was mentally messed up. It wasn't working for me. So that's the only logical thing that I can tell you that might help you. As Steve said, everything else, this is just logic. This is not behavioural. So you're not going to necessarily just going to go away and start acting differently from what we said. You do have to heal the past, but you need a driver to make you want to do it.
Yeah, just a basic, I just want to jump in on that. That's why most people only wait until they can't, their pain inside becomes so bad. That's what then spurs them to go and do something. They'll wait until the jug fills to the very, very top, until they can't handle it anymore. And then the pain now becomes more superior than where they are. And then that's what their driver is now, because the pain becomes too intense and they can't handle it anymore. They need to do something about it.
Which is where I was in 2013 and Steve was in 2018. So we both got to that point, and unfortunately it's sad that you have to get so desperate.
Well, actually I was there a lot earlier than that, but I unfortunately went down the whole believing in the traditional counselling, counsel therapy, CBT. I freaking did everything, and basically it made me worse. They all made me worse, and I ended up meeting Gregory, and then meeting you, and it was only then when things changed.
Yeah,
but actually, it was like they were drilling me further and further and further into the coffin with all the stuff that I was doing, because I actually thought that, well, these are the professionals, these have all got qualifications, they must know, they're the experts, so I'm going to do what they tell me, and it actually didn't fucking help me at all. Didn't help me at all. Made me a lot worse. Like I said to you many times, I went to my parents' house and said, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this." And this is after doing all of the help.
I know. That sad is the problem. The problem is people believe that these so-called experts do know what they're talking about. My friend recently has injured her leg, and they went to hospital, completely misdiagnosed her, gave her the wrong exercises, and it wasn't healing. And they missed the wrong problem. It was in her leg, but it wasn't her Achilles that was the problem. Yeah. It was the muscle just below her knee, not quite the calf, the one to the side, that she pulled, that she'd actually slightly pulled it and torn it almost. And that was the problem. And the exercise they were given were going to cause that damage. So I had to correct that, and now it's getting better. But that's the problem. We go to these people believing they are the experts. And really, an expert is
they've been medical school, weren't they? Yeah. They've been trained in drugs and symptoms.
But an expert is someone who gets rid of the problem, not maintains it. I never understand this concept. The expert, when you want to do marketing, you go to someone who knows how to solve the problem. So you go to someone who knows how to teach you the right way to market, not how to maintain the marketing you're already doing.
That isn't working.
That doesn't work. That is dark. That is insane, mate. In any other profession, you go to call a plumber because you've got a leak. The plumber doesn't come in and go, "Well, you know what? We'll patch it, but you have to leave it like that."
Yeah.
And let it flood your whole house.
And you're going to have to stay like that for the next 10 years.
Exactly. Yeah. And then flood. Yeah. No other profession do we do that.
We're going to leave you some of these tablets.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to leave you some of these plumbers. These are plumber. Right, these are certified plumbing tablets. Yeah. And what you got to do is if you take 2 of these a day, it will make your tap.
It'll make you so drowsy you won't be bothered about the fucking tap, and you won't care because you'll be so drugged up that you won't bother about it. Yeah. But the point is, in no other profession do you do this. You do not call an expert. They don't fix it, and you keep calling that same person back to not fix the problem.
Or keep going back every 6 months to have your scans, to have a look at it, to see if it's got any worse.
It just makes...
Oh, no, you're all right. It hasn't got any worse. Come back in 6 months' time. Carry on taking these.
I know.
They're poisoning your cells and ruining your body and messing your brain up. But don't you worry. You keep on doing it. We're the experts.
Yeah,
we ain't fixed it. Ain't gone away. But trust us.
Yeah. It's insane that we do it in every other area of life. But when it comes to our health, we do the thing always that doesn't get us better. We're happy to maintain and live with it, and cope with it, but not actually get it better. Whereas anything else, if you took your car to a mechanic and they didn't fix it, you wouldn't keep going back to the mechanic. Well, some people would, but you shouldn't keep going. You go to a mechanic who can fix it. Yeah. That's the point. You wouldn't just keep driving around with a broken car because that's technically dangerous.
Yeah. Would you go back to the plumber who didn't fix your tap? No.
Exactly. So. It's
a very good point.
It's insane.
It is insane behaviour.
It's insane behaviour. We don't do it anywhere else.
People will go, yeah, that makes sense, but I'm going to guarantee you tomorrow morning they'll go back and do exactly the same thing.
They will do because that's their sabotage. Yeah. But don't get me wrong.
Or they'll go and think, actually, I just need to go and have a walk in nature or watch a YouTube video. Because I'll tell you another thing that I found out in the last year is it doesn't matter how much truth you give someone and you actually give them the exact answer to their problem, that's never enough for them. They still have to go out and keep searching for it.
Yes.
Even though they've got the answer, it's the right answer, and it is 100% the right answer. They won't go, right, brilliant, I found that. What they'll do is in 3 days' time, they'll go in to the library and watch a YouTube video and try and look for another answer, even though they've got the perfect one. It's mental. It's mental behaviour. They can't just go, okay, brilliant. Well, I've got the answer now. Let's move on to something else. They'll keep looking for an answer even though they've been given it.
One of my new clients says something really funny because he's doing that same thing. He came to me with a physical problem. Yeah. And what
about quantum healing? What about consciousness healing? Yeah. What about this? What about that? I'm like, no, I've told you, it's contracts and agreements. What don't you get? No. Yeah, I know, but it's all spiritual. I'm like, no, contracts and agreements. That's what... Okay, well, what about that? Oh my God, really? Like
my client the other day, I'm treating him with a physical problem, and I've shown him how to correct it, and he wasn't doing what I was saying. He is now, but he wasn't. Yeah. And I said to him, I've told you what's wrong. Why are you not following my advice to correct it? I said, if you do what I say, it doesn't get better after 3 or 4 weeks. Then you can say, John, that was shit. But I guarantee it'll get better. I said, why not? He said, worse, because I've had it for 7 years.
This is what we've got to deal with.
Right? Don't get me wrong. This guy's. If you're watching, I know the family of this. I know that this guy's girlfriend and his girlfriend's mum. They're lovely. But this is what he said to me. Very, very funny. If you're watching, mate, you're a great guy. But it was just very funny what he said. That was the reason. Well, I've had it for 7 years. How is that a reason to not follow advice that's going to get you better? Or at least try it. Because at that point, he wasn't committed to trying it. Yeah. He was.
Another thing that people do is they'll come, realise it works, right?
Yeah.
Do a couple of sessions, realise it works, say to you, oh, do you know what? I've happy so I've been for years, and then they'll message you 2 or 3 days later or 3 times later, go, do you know what? This isn't working. You go, what do you mean it's not working? We've just done this, and this. You just said it was the best thing ever, but now all of a sudden it's not working for you.
I know.
It's like, but here's another thing. So not only have we got that, we always keep looking for answers, even though we've been given them, which is a big problem. But this is what I've said from the very, very start. And this goes really back to the whole COVID nonsense. But what we love to do as humans is trust people we don't know rather than trust people we do. So I could stand up in a room full of 30 people, which I have done, and said, anxiety is caused by this and this and this and this, and I fixed it, and here's some evidence, and then I've done people in the room. And what they'll then do, instead of trusting me, going, well, brilliant, we know Steve, brilliant, right? What they'll then do is they'll then go and tell somebody that they actually need to go and read a book from somebody that they don't know, that they've never met, and get some more intellectual information. They need to go and learn something, right? But you go, well, hang on, I've just proved to you. Yeah, no, we need to. That's because we know you. Now we know you. We can't trust you now.
Yeah, that's right. That's
now I know you. I don't believe a fucking word you say.
No.
Even though you've healed it and fixed it. Now I know you. I don't believe you. But if there's an American guy on a podcast on YouTube who I don't know or has written a book, now you're my man. I'm going to follow everything you fucking say. I've never met you.
But again, that's your sabotage kicking. That's you driving you towards things that's not going to work for you. That's what sabotage does. It will take you to the thing that's not going to work for you.
Yep.
Half the reason people run away sometimes, I mean, we tend not to get it much anymore. We give you examples when it happened in the past. But half the reason people do that is because their sabotage just kicks in and they realise we're helping them and they didn't really want help in the first place.
Yeah.
They thought that what we was doing wasn't going to work like the other things didn't work.
Yeah.
And when they see it working, they freak out, panic and go, oh my God, I'm going to get better. Shit, I need to get out of here.
I just had this last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, I went, we've done everything. We've done, and I went through like years of trying this, going there, doing this, trying this, going there, trying this, doing this, going there, trying this, and finally we found you. And I was like, yeah, anyway, so I did 2 sessions, cleared loads of stuff, got rid of loads of stuff, bang, sabotage kicks in. Oh, I'm not coming back. I'm like, okay, why are you not coming back? Oh, it's not for me. But you told me last week, you're like amazed it's all gone and you feel amazing. So that's just backing up what you said.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Just backing up what you said.
It doesn't happen too much anymore, but it does happen.
It does happen to me sometimes.
Every now and again it happens to me. But it's just your sabotage kicking. It's not real. It's not. Yeah. The other thing that often stops people is they make up a reason. The most common one is finances, and so they'll spend a ton of money on a new sofa. They'll spend a ton of money on a holiday. On
a holiday, yeah.
New car. Or they'll spend a real lot of money on looking good. On the way they look. But when it comes to their own emotional and mental well-being, they don't seem to want to. They might spend 12-month program down the gym. They will sign up for 12-month. I mean, one of my clients, he didn't do it, fortunately, but he had back pain. I've mentioned it before. He was going to sign up to a 9-month program with a chiropractor, which was thousands of pounds for this 9-month program. It took me 3 weeks to fix his back pain. And that was 3 sessions. That was all it was. And he was going to sign up. He was umming and ahhing it.
Yeah.
But seriously, it just people, they don't often, if you're making that excuse right now, if you're seeing someone or you want to see someone and they're charging money, but you're not sure if it will help, and you're obviously that's always the problem. That people aren't sure it's going to help. They don't know it's going to change.
Well, if they're trying to sell it to you, it probably won't.
No, but you have to commit and make that commitment in all areas of life. And some people just can't seem to see that they need to spend money on themselves to get better.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does take a bit of time. Sometimes But it's better than that than spending money on things that aren't going to work, like medicine sometimes, or exercise, or nutrition, or juicing. Not those things do work, but only in the right context.
I know. If you're hungry,
yes.
If you're hungry, juicing and diet, it will solve the problem.
Or if you want to get fit and healthy, as in like strength wise or cardio wise, then yes, you need to do some exercise. But if you have an emotional issue,
or a mental issue, or a behavioural issue,
exercise is not going to change that. It'll make you feel better for about 5 seconds, then you'll get home, get re-triggered by your husband or your kids, and go straight back to square one again.
And then your addiction will fall. Go, so well, I don't like this thing. I need to go and do some more running, and you'll come back and get triggered again. You go, do the running.
I felt really good while I was doing it. We'll just get a treadmill at home and continually run. You'll feel amazing for as long as you can keep that up. But no, we do it all. It's very, very funny what people. Some of the things my clients tell me, I laugh at now, or in the past they have. I know.
Since I've joined this networking group, some of the things that you hear people saying, people's language and stuff. It's really interesting. And then clients as well. People become some of the clients. I'm like, what, you actually think that's actually real? And I'm like, and then when they go, well, no, but I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I said that. I won't know. You logically know that it doesn't make any sense, but unconsciously, that's what you've got stored. And they went, and then I was saying, I can't believe I just said that. I'm like, it's okay. Well, what did you make up in that memory? Blah 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 blah. I mean, okay, and it's something really random. They go, oh, I can't believe I just said that. And it'll just come out. It'll just be there. But you'll be surprised what you don't know about yourself. And
I had a client recently, and she got triggered about 3 sessions in.
With hair like that, I'm not surprised, mate.
No, I know. Well, it was longer than this when she got triggered.
Yeah, it's probably thought it was Dustin Hoffman.
But she hadn't. I got told that once as Dustin Hoffman. I thought it was a compliment, Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. I also got Steven Spielberg once as well. But, so this lady, she hadn't been to the toilet.
That would trigger me.
That would trigger, I know. But that's a different reason they don't know about. This lady had not been to the toilet in 18 days. She couldn't go. No, she couldn't take the piss. She wasn't taking the piss. No, the other toilet. She couldn't go. And although this was a chronic issue, this was the most recent bout, and it was the worst bout she'd ever had. 18 days she couldn't go. So she couldn't do the colonic stuff because of something else she had, and nothing else was working. So she got referred to me.
Was that would be about holding on and not letting go?
It was multiple conflicts causing it. So I said, right, okay, well, we can fix the acute problem fairly quickly, but there's obviously a chronic repeating pattern. And there was like 3 different conflicts running it. And one of them was environmental. So it was harder because it was actually directly in the environment causing an issue. Anyway, so she comes to me with about 3 sessions in, and we'd reduced her symptoms by about 50%, I think. And then she got re-triggered, and she wanted to go back to the doctors to take this thing that they've always given her that's never worked once. They was going to stick a camera up her. She had this appointment because she got triggered into more pain. And she was going to go back and do this. And I said to her, has this ever worked? No. Right. So it's never worked. We have helped you. You've got re-triggered a little bit. We did reduce it, but now you're going to go back doing that same thing. And I did actually get her to not do that, thank God, because it wouldn't have changed anything, and come back. And then when she came out in the 4th session, we cleared out what triggered her, and then it flushed out of her system.
Yeah.
So it was about 3-4 sessions in that we finally got it to go, that bout to go.
Yeah.
We're now working on the chronic part.
Yeah.
But she was going to sabotage herself and go back and do the thing that she knows. And it wasn't until I questioned, I said, well, has this ever worked? No. Right. Okay. And what? So why are you doing it then? She couldn't answer me.
Yeah.
She literally went, I don't.
Well, because there's a contract and agreement that she's made to something. And this is what people need to get about. Once you get told something and you agree to it, you'll keep going back to it. You have to get rid of that agreement. You have to rewrite that contract and agreement. Otherwise, you just get stuck in loops and keep going backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards. Because unconsciously, it's like what you've been programmed. Well, I've got to do that. You don't even know why you're doing it, but I've got to do that. I've got to do that. I've got to go for it. I've got to walk. I've got to exercise because I don't know why. But I've got to. I've got to. Well, is it helping? No. But I've got to do it though.
Yeah.
I've been told I've got to do it. So I've got to do as you're told. So it might be a do as you're told contract that you had from as a child. I mean, loads of reasons. But anyway.
So anything else to add on that?
No, not really. No. I'm just looking. We've been here an hour and 20 minutes. So
have we? Oh, blimey. Oh, okay. Well, no, actually
Rose
knew
is
we
in the
was
front
doing
room.
it.
Rose is in the front room animating probably.
He's probably doing another video.
He's probably doing another video. Yeah. So I need to go and.
Should we call it a day?
So, Matt, yeah. So
it was a day.
It was a day. Yeah.
Like
so I hope that information's probably helps you. So if you are, like I said, if you're struggling in what it is, I've forgotten what we're talking about.
What is stopping you from explaining
exactly.
what you're talking about to the audience? Because there's something stopping you.
Yeah, so if there is something stopping you, then it's hopefully that you'll start understanding now it's not the thing that you need to do, it's the thing you need to get rid of that is ultimately the problem.
And I will say we are
stop making up shit and believing the shit you make up about people, about who they are, what they do. If you're acting, this is a great one I saw. This hasn't really got anything to do with it, but I think this is so good. So talk about people and making up shit about people and believing the shit you make up. Here's a great statement. If you've got a problem with me, text me. If you haven't got my number, you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me.
That's a good point.
So that's a great one.
That's a good one. I will say we are just trying to help you move past your blocks.
Yeah, make you have a better life.
So we just want you to move forwards, either be healthy, happy, successful, wherever you want that you're not getting. That's all we want. So that's why we're trying to explain to you what's blocking you.
And if you don't want that, carry on sitting in front of your TV, watching Britain's Got Talent and taking your headache tablets and doing your exercise, going for walks, being angry, feeling sad, shouting at the kids, moaning at the husband, blaming everyone for your situation.
See,
because of the choices that you made.
I do that and I've got no kids or husband. It's silly, really.
I
know. Yeah. Right. On that note, thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thanks.
It's
good to be back after a year and 13 months or so.
Yeah, it's been a while. So if you like it, enjoy it, then post a comment below. We might come back and do another one at some point. If you have anything you want us to talk about or go over from the past that you want us to redo again, then give us a shout and we'll come on and do another one for you. All right?
Yeah. So, okay. So, do you want to give me your details? Because you're where you got to get out, haven't you?
Hey, I've never been eager to get out ever in my life.
I was the broadcast.
I was talking about the broadcast. I was somewhere else. No, it's never been my motto.
Yeah.
Get out before they go down.
So if you want to work with John and you've got a pain issue or you've got severe pain, physical pain, then go to his website, dco.com. Or Decoding Pain.
No, so go to www.thedcosystem.com. I work with chronic pain, mental health, chronic illness, and multiple other problems.
It's fixed me over and over again many times. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and you know, I help with chronic illness and things. I don't mind it like Dustin Hoffman though.
Yeah, carry on. You got chronic illness, disease.
Yeah. So I help people when traditional alternative and holistic therapies haven't worked. So when you are stuck and you've got something that's not working, not being solved by the traditional viewpoint, then come and see me.
I do all of that, except I don't do the chronic pain because that's not my forte, and I'm not trained in anatomy like that. But everything else,
he's good. He's good.
I've got some great testimonials about what I do.
He has got some great testimonials about what he does.
Yeah.
He didn't have to pay them very much either.
No,
it was good. No, he's very good at what he does, and he's even helped me on occasion.
Yeah, I do.
He's even switched a couple of things off from me.
I know. And teacher, eh?
I don't let anyone switch things off from me. So that is a huge honour. But yeah, no, he's very good. So
so especially if you're struggling to move forward or procrastinating is a big thing. And actually, the more I recognise that's happening a lot with a lot of the people that I'm working with, but fundamentally anxiety, depression, if traumas, past relationship breakups, narcissistic, you're getting out of a narcissistic relationship that can cause you loads of problems. Come and see me. I can clear all that crap, and then you'll end up going having a relationship that isn't narcissistic because you're programmed to have one. So all those things I can do, help clear, heal, get rid of, and reprogram your brain so you become the best version of yourself.
And where do they need to go?
Healingthemind.co.uk.
There you go.
I think they all know that anyway, so I'm always banging on about it.
Right.
Have a really, really great week. Until the next time, thank you very so much for watching. I've been Stephen Jakes. This has been Jonathan Shaw. We've been glad to have a one-off podcast. We hope you enjoyed the information, and all the best. Take care and have a great life.
Speak to you soon, guys.
Ciao now. Bye.